Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited for today's presentation. Before we get started, I'm going to do some quick introductions. I'm going to go through some housekeeping items, and then I'll pass it over to Jason to guide us through this presentation. My name's Kayla. I'm here as part of the Acelab team. We have Jason and Monica here from DaVinci Roofscapes. Let me quickly take over screen share and take you over to Acelab for just a moment. All right, anytime you're looking to do some materials research in Acelab, a really great place to start is the search bar at the top of the screen. You can do our new AI search, or in this case, you can search by specific manufacturer. Here on DaVinci's page, we've got some really great information for you to explore. We've got contact information as well. I will drop the link to this page in the chat, and you can kind of explore through more of these products here and get a better feel for what they offer. You can also actually click right here and save any of these specific products to your firm library for future reference. Again, I'll drop this link in the chat so you can check it out and learn a little bit more about DaVinci. All right, a couple of other things to make note of. Today is an AIA-approved presentation. We already collected your numbers upon registration. However, if you're worried we didn't get your AIA number, I'm also going to put a form in the chat. You can use that to fill out and make sure that we get you credit for today's session. Additionally, we will be doing Q&A at the very end, but if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to drop them in the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Monica will be answering some questions throughout the presentation, and then any additional ones we'll get to at the very end. We will also have a webinar poll. You're going to see that pop up on your screen about 3/4 of the way through the presentation. It is an optional poll, so if you're not interested in getting any kind of follow-up after today, just click the X and we'll leave you alone. However, if you would like to get connected with the DaVinci team after the webinar, fill out that poll, specify any specific questions you have, and we will connect you via an Acelab conversation. That's a great way to ask any further questions, and just keep an eye out on your inbox for that Acelab notification when the conversation's created. Lastly, we will also do a post-webinar survey, so stick around for that at the end. We appreciate any feedback that you have. And with that being said, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Jason to get us started.
Thank you.
Yes.
Everybody, my name is Jason King. I'm with DaVinci Roofscapes. I'm a territory manager for DaVinci. I've been with DaVinci a little over 3 years now. I cover the Western PA markets, West Virginia, along with Western New York. And we'll go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to talk about the design advantages of composite roofing solutions. As Kyla had mentioned, this is an accredited course with the AIA. It's a 1-hour learning course, and we'll go ahead and get started. Just real briefly, in this 1-hour course, we're going to explore the sustainable and versatile characteristics of composite roofing. We're going to cover the benefits of composite roofing systems. We'll get into Lifecycle. We'll talk about durability, adaptability for a variety of applications and really environments throughout the country. Okay. At the end of this program, my hope would be that everybody on the call is able to identify the environmentally friendly benefits of virgin engineered polymer composite roofing, explain the design and architectural advantages of choosing composite roofing solutions, looking at integrity, versatility, and visual appeal. And then we'll evaluate, we would hope that you'd be able to evaluate the pros and cons of traditional roofing materials compared to composites, and then really analyze the durability, extended lifespan of composite roofing materials, along with the various testing methods associated in approvals. Okay. As we get started here, composite roofing was really developed in response to the popularity of the historic look of natural slate and wood shake products. And really the dwindling supply of non-renewable or slowly renewable natural roofing materials. Okay. it gets harder and harder to source products like cedar roofing, harder and harder to source products like natural slate. And we think there's some real advantages to the composite systems versus some of these alternative products, if you will. So we'll talk about the composition of man-made shake and slates first. So with engineered polymer resin, you're going to have very little expansion and contraction. Okay, so very little movement within those tile. Another advantage of using a polymer resin is going to be it remains pliable in all temperatures. It retains its tensile strength. It's not going to crack over time. Very user friendly. You can install the majority of these products, throughout the winter. It's not sensitive to seasons, if you will. And these products are going to perform for a very long time, retain their strength over time. Okay. So we get asked a lot of questions. Why virgin resin? I think there's a lot of reasons why you might use a virgin resin or would prefer to use a virgin resin, but really number one is going to be the consistency of the product. If you're utilizing a composite tile that is manufactured with composite resins, you don't get into situations where, okay, we purchased from one batch, but we can't mix product with another batch. With virgin resin, it affords you the ability to have a lot better consistency and control in the manufacturing process. And that really translates right over to the roof. So, if a contractor or project were to run short, order the product, and we have no concerns with mixing one batch to another. Okay. Another reason why we like virgin resin versus recycled in a lot of cases is it truly does increase the lifespan of a roof. Every time that you recycle a polymer, it becomes weaker and weaker. And we've seen time and time again situations where products get out on a roof utilizing a non-virgin resin system, and product discolors or slowly weathers at different rates. We get into those no mix type situations, things along those lines. Tiles become brittle over time. And that's why we really promote and are big proponents of utilizing a virgin system. And you really should get premium performance utilizing a virgin resin system when specifying a composite slate or shake product. Okay. Some of the features and benefits of composite. We'll talk about sustainability real quick, durability, performance standards, natural looks. I mean, that's initially typically the first thing that drives, property owners, homeowners, specifiers to composites is they look like the real thing. The aesthetics really draw people to the product. These products are very lightweight and easy to use, very easy for the installer to install, and very, very little maintenance involved. Okay. So you're not having to hire a slating company to come out and repair damaged slate every year, or having to, retreat and maintain a cedar roof to try and, give it as long of a life as possible. Okay. These products tend to be very cost effective, especially in relationship to natural slate and natural shake products. So from a sustainability standpoint, we feel that composites are going to utilize the least amount of resources. Okay. They generally tend to be very environmentally safe. The majority of these products are 100% recyclable, which is a major advantage out in the field, especially over the life cycle of the product. Less carbon footprint with transportation. These products tend to last a very long time. A lot of manufacturers will go, lifetime warranty, 50-year warranty plus. So, you can typically expect if you use a good quality composite product, you should get at least 50 years out of that roof. Okay. A lot of these products may meet requirements for LEED and cool roof standards as well. From a durability standpoint, I mean, these products are really designed to last a lifetime. In most cases, this is going to be the last roof that a homeowner puts on their home. And from a total cost of ownership standpoint, it provides a very compelling value proposition for long-term property owners. So when you start thinking about multifamily and student housing and commercial type projects, when you look at that, that life cycle and the total cost of ownership, in many cases, a composite 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, will have cost even less than an asphalt roof in a lot of cases. Okay, and we'll get a little bit more into that later. Hurricane strength wind certifications. That's another big one from a durability standpoint with these products, because if you take applications all along the coast or areas where there's high winds, hurricanes, tornadoes, these products perform very, very well under hurricane strength winds. So from a durability standpoint, we're going to have those certifications. Class A fire rated and wildfire urban interface approved. So if you're doing or working on any projects in areas that are prone to wildfires, these are great products to utilize because these are going to meet those requirements, for states like California and things along those lines. Okay. From an aesthetic standpoint, I mean, you're going to get a variety of aesthetics. I mean, slate tile that are made in composites that are going to range anywhere from a 1/4 of an inch thick all the way to a 1/2 inch thick. Okay. They truly are going to replicate the look of a premium high-end slate tile or shake tile roof. You really wouldn't know from the ground that it wasn't a composite until you actually got right up on it, touched it, feel it. But from the ground, almost indecipherable, the difference. Reminiscent of, natural hand split cedar shakes. You're going to find shakes that, range anywhere from a 1/2 inch all the way up to a 5/8 of an inch thick. And then talking color, that's where you'll really see another benefit with composites is with a composite, you're able to really emulate a full range of natural slate and shake colors. Authentic shake colors to match how cedar ages under different climates. This comes in really handy in applications where, let's say, for example, it's a historical project and the property owners, they want to maintain that look, or the historical society wants to ensure that we maintain that look or that integrity. And so many manufacturers are actually able to offer custom color and different blends to emulate that and give them the aesthetics that they're looking for, the end aesthetics that they're looking for on that project. So, there are a lot of manufacturers out there that will provide factory collated color blends. And, what we mean by that is, if you were to order 3 different colors of natural slate, you're going to get shipped, 3 different bundles or 3 different sets of that natural slate. What happens out in the field is then the installer typically needs to take that tile and they need to sort it by hand. But that kind of opens up an area where you can have one person sorting at a different rate, another person sorting in another, potentially create patterns where if you're going to specify a composite where they factory collate their blends. That way, contractors are just pulling the material out of the bundle and installing it and not thinking about color. Okay. Custom colors and custom blends are available. Monica could attest to this. She's on the call today, but we do Ralph Lauren white slate tile for Disney, for example. There are just a multitude of different applications where you could potentially utilize our custom color capabilities. Okay. Blended bundles, and what I mean by blended bundles is, we talked a little bit about color. Ideally you would have your bundles pre-blended on site. We also do that with size. So you want to look at a composite manufacturer that's going to blend multi-width systems all together in bundles. That's going to make it as easy as possible for the installers. Okay. Blended bundles are going to be available multi-width, single-width systems, and then self-aligning systems as well. Okay. Just looking at some of the different profile options that are available out there. You'll find multi-width systems that have slate ranging between 6 inches all the way up to 12. It's going to give you very cottage-like look appearance, if that's the type of aesthetic that you're looking for on the project that you're specifying. Single width slate systems that are going to be a little bit more traditional, if you will. For example, very common in the Northeast portion of the United States, where you see a lot of tile on roofs that are all the same width and typically have very consistent exposures as well. We're starting to see self-aligning systems come out, very similar to some of the concrete and clay tile systems from a product standpoint. And these products are actually going to self-align as you work up your way up the roof. In a lot of cases, save the installer's time and money in a lot of cases. Shake systems that are going to range anywhere between 4 inches all the way up to 9. There's valley tile available that are out there if you're working with a shake system and you want to have a little bit bigger pieces in the valley to keep your fasteners away from the valley areas. Hip and ridge systems, and then also hand split shakes. And there are manufacturers out there now that will actually create hand split shake systems that they'll add a false keyway to the tile, and it truly does create a multi-width appearance on the roof. While saving the contractor time and cutting down on expense a little bit as well. Okay. Turret kits. A lot of manufacturers are now starting to offer custom turret packages. And, a turret on a building is a very complicated aspect of the building for a contractor to tackle. It takes a lot of work. If you don't have a lot of experience working with natural slate products, natural shake projects, it can be very overwhelming for a contractor. So what we say is just take the measurement of your rafter, take the measurement of your rafters on that circle, and then either get the diameter or the entire circumference of the circle. If you can get that information, then there are manufacturers that will calculate that turret kit for the contractor and then bundle it by row to make it as easy as possible for them to install it out in the field. So highly recommend taking a look at turret kits if you are specifying or working on any projects that involve radius features like you see here. Okay. So to real quickly talk about some of the lightweight benefits of the product. Just a quick comparison here. Metal roofing, which is very common. You're going to be around 150 pounds per square. Your good old fashioned 3-tab shingles, about 250 pounds per square. Cedar shake roof, you're going to be about 250. Okay. Composite slate's going to be very comparable to that. It's going to be in that 250, 260 range per 100 square foot. To compare that versus some of your high-end laminate asphalt shingles that are available out there, those products can range all the way up to about 500 pounds per foot. So you're really starting to put a lot of weight on those roofs. And a lot of those roofs were designed to bear originally, pre-tab shingles in a lot of cases. Now those roofs are being replaced, and you're replacing with something that's twice as heavy. You could get into situations where you start to see sag over time, and pressure created on the roof. Concrete tile systems, those can be all the way up to, in the 700s per 100 square foot. Clay tile, close to 1,000. And then we see slate range anywhere between about 1,000 pounds all the way up to about 1,500 pounds per 100 square foot. If a roof wasn't built with natural slate on it, and it was built probably within the last couple dozen years, chances are it was not built to bear the weight of a natural slate product. That's another area where composites come in. The home's already designed, or the building's already designed to bear that weight or bear that load without changing anything from a framing standpoint. So, composites can really, for the installer, they can really facilitate handling and installation of the roofing material in a lot of cases, a lot easier. For the client, it's going to really reduce installation time and costs in most cases. Okay. Easy to install. I mean, natural slate is very difficult to install. Um, and there's very, very few contractors out there that are even willing to do it. Just because there isn't the skill set out there really to work with a lot of those products. Where composite slate, I mean, you can cut it with a circular saw, a miter saw, a table saw. It's lightweight. It supports foot traffic. You can walk on it no problem. Another major advantage is you can install these products with a nail gun. If you're working with a slate or a natural shake roof, chances are they're hand nailing. The install is going to go twice as long. So it's going to require less labor, less results in less labor and less waste compared to natural slate. It's going to provide greater durability and it's going to be a lot easier to handle. Okay. So this here is just an example of, there's a couple different ways that you can install these products. So probably one of the most common is going to be just your good old fashioned straight coursing. Okay. So where you have a very consistent exposure all the way across the rows. Okay. Another way these can be, and that's going to give you a very traditional look, if you will. Okay. Where you can also stagger these products. So if you're looking for more of like a cottage-like appearance or like an old world type of appearance, you can stagger the tile. It's going to consume a little bit more material, but you can create those aesthetics if that's what you or your client's looking for. Okay. So here's just some examples of straight coursing versus staggered coursing with shake. Here's a couple examples with slate. Okay. Um, any of these products that we're talking about today, for the most part, composite roof, shake, and slate can be installed as siding. The most common areas I see it used frequently are going to be in dormers, gables, accent areas on the home. But I mean, absolutely, you can install these products on the entire facade of a home. Very similar to the installation process if you were to side a home with natural cedar or even a composite, or not a composite, but a fiber cement type shake products. The advantage here, of course, is virtually no maintenance, great looks that are going to last for a very long time, high warranty, high performance. Okay. Custom patterns, I mean, you can really take your imagination as far as you'd like with a lot of these products. So based on the weight and the multiple sizes that are available with a lot of these systems, I mean, the materials can be laid out in custom patterns. I always say if you're going into a custom pattern situation, or really if you or any of your installers are new to installing composite roofing, reach out to us. We would love to talk to you. We'd love to talk to the contractor. We'd love to train the installers. We want the roof to go perfectly. So definitely utilize whatever manufacturer that you go with, utilize the resources they have in house. It's in everybody's best interest. And that way we can ensure that the project goes perfectly. Okay. There's a lot of accessories that are available for composites. We get asked questions about accessories a lot. The nice thing is it's pretty simple. So we have 4-inch turret tiles for turret applications. Not a real common accessory, but they're available. 6-inch hip and ridge tile. They're utilized for your hip and ridge, on your projects. 7-inch slate hip and ridge tiles. 12-inch shake valley tiles, one-piece hip and ridge systems. So that's just more like a one-piece system that you bend in half and you actually cap it right over your hip or your ridge area without having to do any flashing. So we're seeing a big demand for that product as well. Rake tiles that are available for some of the self-aligning systems. Transition tiles for some of the self-aligning systems. And then pretty much any composite product that you work with, you're going to have starter tile, you're going to have field tile, and then you're going to have your hip and ridge tile. Okay. Those are going to be the three most components anytime you're specifying a composite roof. Okay. And then solid tiles are available for valley cuts, different applications like that. There's very few situations where you need to utilize solid tile. I don't think I've ever sold a solid tile in the past 3 years that I've been with my current company, but they are available for the installers that like to use them. Okay. Um, we'll talk a little bit about maintenance. So, unlike their natural counterparts, composites are going to require virtually no maintenance. There really is no maintenance with these products other than, taking a quick visual at the roof, making sure your gutters are clean, and, just making sure that your valleys are clear of debris, and organic matter. So, often you'll find a lot of installers that work with composites, they do open valleys rather than a closed valley because it just gets the organic matter out of there. And in a lot of cases, the roofs will perform even better. Okay. From a cost standpoint, composite slate's going to offer a pretty significant upfront savings, especially versus natural slate. Okay. Savings, you'll, and oftentimes you'll see savings anywhere, 40 to 50%, half the cost of a natural slate roof. Because the materials in a lot of cases tend to be less expensive, the installation is less expensive. So it can be pretty significant versus a natural slate roof. Composite shake, where you're going to see the big advantage there is going to be life cycle. That total cost of ownership. You're not going to have to replace that composite roof in 15, 20 years due to decay and rot. You're not going to have to retreat or treat it with a coating or treat it with intumescent coatings for fire resistance. Versus with a natural shake product, you're going to have to do that. So we tend to think a composite slate roof's going to probably last twice as long as a natural shake roof. Okay. So, where you would use composite slate, really any steep slope roof application. We get a lot of questions, how low of a slope can you get, with composites? 312 is as low as that you're going to want to go with a composite roofing system. Anything lower that, we typically say go with like a standing seam metal or some type of flat roof system in those low slope areas in conjunction with the composite tile. But where we see it used in a lot of cases, new construction versus clay tile re-roofs, concrete tile, same type of applications, metal roof, asphalt roof, of course. Oh, sorry about that. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the strengths and weaknesses of some of the different products that are out there. Looking at asphalt roofing, probably the biggest strength of asphalt roofing is it's very common. Everybody knows how to install it for the most part, or we would hope so, right? The big weakness there is it may need frequent replacement. I think it's very hard to find an asphalt roof in this day and age that's going to outlast, a 15, 20-year life cycle. So when you start thinking about composites, yet they may be more expensive on the front end, on the back end, when you need to replace that asphalt roof 10 or 15, 20 years from now, it's probably going to cost twice as much money as it does now. So when you look at that total cost of ownership, asphalt truly does, or composite truly does outperform asphalt roofing. Okay. Some of your big advantages on the composite side, composite's going to be durable. They're going to be hail and fire and wind resistant. A lot of advantages that you may or may not see with composites. Okay. Other strengths of asphalt, it can be durable in many circumstances, but weaknesses, we see delamination, granular loss, bleeding on the tile where you start to see dark streaks like you see over in the photo here. Don't tend to be, whereas your composite products are going to be color fast, they're going to maintain tensile strength. And then from a asphalt standpoint, algae growth is a problem. Whereas composite, there's not going to be anything organic in here for mold and mildew to feed off of. The tile are flat. So, if something were on the tile, you could wipe it off with your finger. It's not like you need to get up there and worry about algae and mold and mildew growth on your roof when working with a composite. Okay. Versus wood shake. I mean, wood shake has a reasonable cost for the most part. The big weakness there is the life cycle. You know, you're going to be lucky if you get 15, 20 years out of a wood roof these days. 3 to 4 times the life expectancy of wood with a composite shake. Okay. That's the big advantage there. Wood, I mean, it has established performance, but I would contest that almost and say, well, product that was milled and installed on roofs 50 or 100 years ago would have lasted a lot longer than the materials that are being harvested now, the cedar that's being harvested now. It has a lot looser grain, less tannins in it, and those products are very susceptible to hail, rot, insects in a quick period of time. With composites, you're going to have a Class A fire rating with utilizing a Class A fire rated underlayment without having to treat it with any type of intumescent coatings or fire retardant coatings over time. Okay. Other strengths of wood shake, high end look, but the fire retardant treatment is very costly. It wears off, and again, requires a lot of maintenance. Where your composites, again, you've got your hail resistance, similar weight, no extra support needed. It's a very, very compelling value proposition in comparison to natural slate and wood shake in particular. So natural slate products, I mean, they last a long time. I mean, no one can contest that, but they do require quite a bit of maintenance. Natural slate hits it from an aesthetic standpoint. It does have established performance. It's going to be fire and hail resistant, right? But from a weakness standpoint, your natural slate, it's going to be very heavy, very difficult to re-roof, very high costs up front. And there's really a very limited number of installers or good quality installers that are even capable. Whereas with a composite, if somebody's good at metal and flashing work and knows how to strike a chalk line and read a tape measure, we can really get them up and running and teach them how to install a composite roof pretty quickly. Okay. Your big advantages there again with composites, cost savings, be lightweight, and much easier to install. Okay. So looking at concrete tile, concrete tile, it's established. It does have its longevity strengths. It's available in a variety of styles and sizes. And they tend to be fire resistant as well, right? But from a weakness, very, very heavy. 900 pounds, right, per square. You have freeze thaw challenges, especially in the northern markets, where you do have a true winter where things get below 30 degrees. We've seen a lot of clay and tile roofs where you get a little bit of moisture into those tile, things freeze, and then all your tiles start popping and cracking, fracturing, dropping into the gutters. Before you know it, you're hiring a slater or a tile company out there to repair. Provences, where you get the whitening on the face of the material, is very common with concrete products as well. Can be very difficult to install, increased labor. Your composite advantages, again, are going to be lightweight, very easy to install. They're going to be impact resistant, and really address a lot of the downside of a lot of these other products that we're talking about. Metal or stone coated products. This is kind of more of a more emerging category in the roofing space, I guess I'd say. We think the strength is probably from a longevity standpoint, but the weakness, I would say, is they're not very popular. They can be a real pain to install. I've heard from installers out in the field. Costs can fluctuate due to tariffs and the cost of steel, and there's a lot of factors that play into price or cost fluctuations. Where a composite's going to offer you a true slate look, which is really the type of look that these products are trying to achieve. The composites are really going to deliver on those aesthetics or looks. Composites are going to complement traditional architecture. A composite roof is really going to harmonize a lot better in a neighborhood that, let's say, for example, there's shake roofs, there's tile roofs. It's going to harmonize a lot better than, throwing a metal or a stone coated roof out into that market. It's going to stick out a little bit like a sore thumb, if you will. Versus tile, they're going to be very similar to the comparison versus concrete. Strengths with clay tile. I mean, they do last a long time. Variety of styles, they're fire resistant. Okay. But the downside is they're heavy, they're very difficult to install. They can be very, very expensive. And again, susceptible to freeze thaw, impact. You get a hailstorm with a tile roof, and chances are you're gonna be calling the insurance company or having a roofer out there to repair your roof. Whereas with your composites, they're going to be less expensive, lighter weight. So we'll talk a little bit about testing and some of the approval summaries. I'm not going to get too much into the details here just for the sake of time. But we will touch on every one of these in more of a higher level, if you will. So, if you are choosing a composite roofing product, probably one of the first things that you want to do is ensure that they've done testing, fire testing. Is it a class C product or is it a class A product? Because there's a lot of differences from a performance standpoint between the two. Okay. So you just want to ensure that any product or manufacturer that you're considering has done the ASTM class A testing. Okay. And basically what that does is, I'll show you an example here. You take an open flame, and with untreated natural shake, that flame just spreads and engulfs the entire roof pretty quickly. Okay. You see it about 10 minutes, that roof started to fail and penetrate into the attic space of the home, right? Where non-class A products, the flame's going to spread across the roof deck, it's going to ignite the decking, and your chances of extinguishing a fire that is a non-class A product is much, much lower than utilizing a class A. Okay. You see products start to melt, and see within 10 minutes you have issues. Okay. I think I missed a slide here somehow. Sorry about that. So I'm missing a slide. I really apologize here. I'm not sure why it's not popping up for me. Whereas a composite roof, you expose that open flame to the roof, and the class A material and the composite tile is actually going to be self-extinguishing. It's going to put out that flame. So it doesn't give the flame the opportunity to spread across the roof deck, ignite the decking, and then cause even bigger problems, right? Impact testing is another big one. The UL 22818 is an impact test that's done by really any credible roofing manufacturer. It's going to involve dropping a 1 pound steel ball from 20 feet multiple times over the same area. And, you want to look for a composite. If you're specifying a composite roof, you want to look for a class 4, which is going to be the highest rating from an impact standpoint that you can have. Okay. There are also manufacturers out there that are now promoting fortified, which is just as another testing measure in which they categorize, high impact, virtually no concerns with high impact with hail, fallen tree debris, things along those lines. But those are things that I would look out for or recommend looking out for. Is you want to look for a class 4 rated product and or fortified. Okay. Wind uplift. I mean, you want to make sure that you're utilizing a product that's been tested for wind. Okay. Composite slate and shake, they're going to be certified at a minimum of 110 miles per hour. Go with a product that's been tested for high velocity if you're going to specify in hurricane zones. Wind uplift, minimum 150 to 180 pounds per mile per hour. that are going to resist any type of uplift there. Okay. Accelerated weathering is another way for a lot of manufacturers to determine how their product's going to perform from a fade, a tensile strength, a curling, a warping, a coating adhesion standpoint. So you look for a product that's been run through accelerated weather testing. The company I work for personally, we've been in business since 1999. So we truly do have real world installations out in the field that are performing that date over 26 years. So there's a lot of pop-up or startup companies that are coming out there that make a lot of claims, but just definitely do the due diligence and make sure that they've done the appropriate testing. So this example here, so an industry standard in accelerated weather testing is typically you put the material in the QEV chamber for about 4,000 hours, okay? And the company I work for example, we actually go twice as long, and we put that in twice as long for 8,000 hours, so double the duration of the industry standard, and you would see less or a change in color in those products, less than 1 delta or 1.2 delta, which is virtually indistinguishable to the eyeball. So that just is another attestation to the performance attributes of composite, especially from an aesthetic or a color standpoint. So color change, insignificant. 8,000 hours, very, very low. Freeze thaw testing, another one. This is, freeze the product at -40 degrees, and then we shock it to 180 degrees continuously for a cycle, for a month on cycles. And a lot of polymer composites, especially your virgin polymer composites, are going to show no signs of cracking, crazing, or any other types of surface changes. That's another one to keep your eyes out for. Water absorption is another big one. There are a few products out there that they add wood fiber to their composites. I would beware. If you stick those products in a bucket of water, let them sit for a week or two, they will absorb moisture. And if they absorb moisture and you're in northern markets or markets where you do have freeze thaw, you're going to have cracking tile in a very quick period of time. So if you utilize a product that has virtually no water absorption, you're going to yield a lot better performance. So there are some engineered polymer composites that are out there that have less than 1%. I mean, a fraction of a percent of water absorption, which is huge. So just real quickly, I was just going to talk about a few different case studies, different examples of composites being used in different applications. So this first project here, this was a new construction build, custom home. This was on the Long Island Sound, about 300 yards from the shore. The architect involved, they were looking for something durable, something that had a warranty, but they wanted to maintain, or wanted to keep a certain architectural integrity. And so this project here actually happened to be in 2017, was a spec home project of the year in the state of, for the Home Building Association in the state of Connecticut. And this project actually was able to gain lead points from a variety of different aspects here. So the first one was water efficient landscaping. Because composite tiles work well with captured rain, they don't leach and leach with captured rain systems, which preserves for potable water. So that's a big one there. Construction waste management. I mean, composite tiles are going to divert 50 to 75% of roofing materials from landfills based on the life cycles of those materials. Resource reuse, when carefully removed, I mean, a certain percentage of these tiles can be reused. Regional materials, if the composite tile is manufactured within 500 miles of the manufacturers of the project, There's significant transportation savings within that 500-mile radius. And there's another area where you could potentially qualify for LEED credits if you're working on a LEED project. Other examples from this project, composite slate tiles were used in a cool roof color. So a lot of manufacturers will offer their products in standard color and then also a cool roof. Cool roof is primarily utilized in the southern half of the country, but can be used anywhere. And cool roof is really designed to reflect sunlight and heat away from the home. Okay. There's a note here about Energy Star, but there are no longer any Energy Star programs or credits as far as we're aware of for roofing materials. But this one also qualified for LEED for heat island effect and measured in a range of 0.26 to 0.34 for solar reflectance and a high range in thermal emittance as well. Okay. Second project I wanted to mention just real quick is a project that was done in Texas. Hurricanes came through and destroyed the island in 2017. Destroyed the island in 2016 and in 2017. Composite tiles were replaced on the product. Several hurricanes have blasted through that area since. Not a single tile has come off that roof or the side walls of that building that you see there. Okay. From a multi-family standpoint, one of the biggest challenges is trying to get the multifamily builder or the multifamily developer to understand that total cost of ownership conversation, right? But we see time and time again, this would be an example of a multifamily development out west. They initially put cedar roofs on all the buildings. Within 15 years, the homeowner association is having to gather funds and charge the independent residents there additional monies to replace those roofs for properties they just bought 15 years prior. So the architect involved specified composite roofs, presented it to the homeowners association, and they accepted it. And now you've got composite roofs that are going to last, easily 50 years in those developments. Historic applications are great case studies for composites. A lot of times, historical projects, they're trying to get funding, from the state, from the government, from the historical society, and a lot of times replacing those historic products that were on those roofs, for example, natural slate, can become very, very cost prohibitive. Historical societies love composites, and they love them because we can deliver on the aesthetics. We're a lot more budget friendly than some of the alternatives that are out there, and so we can stay within budget, if you will. Okay. And then this last one here, this was a project. Composites were actually utilized on this home. There was a wildfire. The home caught fire, and when it hit the roof deck, the flame did not spread, and so they were able to extinguish the fire, and the home did not burn down. There were a multitude of homes surrounding this property that did. So just another attestation to the performance attributes, if you will, of composites, right? So here's just some examples, just some different examples of shape applications. Perch type project, A-frame cottage, your traditional home. This one here looks like multifamily housing or ski village type roof or design here. Examples of composite slate installations. So your custom home with a turret here, ski lodge type architecture. So this here's just a quick example of custom blended composite slate. This one here is a custom color blend. If you ever get into a situation where you want to look at custom color blends, we have color chips available. You pick the chips that you like, and we can help you come up with a blend for your project that fits. And this one here on the right is just kind of showing you how far you can take your imagination if you'd like to, right? Just real quick, some composite slate examples. Here's an example of your open valleys, your hip and ridge details. You can do a closed valley with these products. You do want to make sure that you do at least at a minimum have a center diverter, a W valley, or a double W valley if you're doing open valleys. Some open valley aesthetics here on shake, ridge detail on shake. Snow guard installation. Snow guards are very common with composites, especially in markets where you get snowfall. Highly recommend it. It's at a minimum over entryways, garage doors. Just don't want to make sure that snow or ice slides off the roof and injures anyone or damages the property. So, I mean, in summary, I know I rushed through a lot of information there, but I think we should have plenty of time to open it up for questions. My hope would be that you can, everybody on the call can identify some of the environmentally friendly features of virgin engineered polymer composite roofing, explain the design and architectural advantages, including integrity, versatility, visual appeal, evaluate the pros and cons of traditional materials versus composites, and then really analyze and understand the durability and extended lifespan of composites, along with the various testing methods and approvals, that validate the performance of those products. Okay. This is my contact information. I always like to include it if I do one of these. If anybody ever has a question or just wants to shoot me an email, has a quick question, not sure who to go to, feel free to do that. I will connect you with the appropriate DaVinci contact for your market. You can always reach out to DaVinci's main office at the 1-800 number that you see here. Definitely check out our website. Check out Westlake Royal Building Products, our parent company. And that's really all I had as far as the CEU presentation today.
Awesome. And Jason, if you want to run through some additional slides or talk more about DaVinci's products, you're welcome to. It looks like Monica has answered pretty much all the questions in the Q&A so far. So,
Okay,
yeah, folks, if you do have any additional questions, now's a good time to go ahead and drop those in there. We can answer them live, or feel free to put those in the post-webinar survey as well.
perfect.
Kayla,
Yes.
I see that Joanna was having problems with the pool, if that's something that we can help her out with.
Yes, I saw that too. Joanna, I'm not sure what the issue could be. It's still live and running. So if you have something specific you want us to follow up with you on, you can put in the Q&A or in the post-webinar survey, and we'll be sure to follow up with you via email afterwards.
Perfect. So just real quickly, just give you a couple minute rundown. Of course, everybody knows that I work for DaVinci Roofscapes. One of the most important things that I want to mention is DaVinci's been in business since 1999. We continually improve on product aesthetics, color steadfastness, and we've been very diligent about it over the past 25 plus years, if you will. Okay. So you can rest assured this is a proven product. It's been tested in the field. It's not going to explode. Although it may be new to a lot of individuals, we've been around for a long time. Okay. Why people choose DaVinci roofs? I mean, it tends to be the number one draw is once you show someone a sample, I mean, they're going to be drawn to the product. I mean, it is a beautiful product. It tends to be a very profitable product for our contractors, distributors. When you look at the life cycle costs and the total cost of ownership of DaVinci, financially it just makes sense. But you need to get the client to understand that, right? We have a dedicated team here at DaVinci. So we have in-house engineers, we have customer service, but we also have project specialists. Our project specialists can assist with color consultations for your clients, help facilitate samples, quick ship samples to your clients, a lot of different things that we can do to support you from the inside as well as the outside, or connect you directly with the right territory manager at DaVinci to get you whatever type of support that you're looking for, right? So, I think everybody's seen, roofs that look like this. I mean, for me in my market, I'm in the Northeast, Monica's in the South. But asphalt shingles is a major competitor, for me in my market. And it's really asphalt shingles, it's natural slate, natural shake. But you see here the type of aesthetics and type of performance that you get with asphalt. You see that lamb, glue loss, it's brittle. Before you know it, you can't walk on the roof. There truly are some longevity concerns with those products, right? Natural shake, I think everybody's seen natural shake roofs that look like this. It's almost impossible to prevent that over time. Where composites are really going to address a lot of that, right? And then natural slate starts to get a little brittle over time. You have a hailstorm, before you know it, you're out there replacing slate tile on a regular basis, right? But our big claim to fame at DaVinci, and the thing that we think really differentiates us from a few of the composite competitors out there are we do utilize an engineered virgin polymer system. Okay, so we can control quality, we can control color, so we can feel 100% confident in the performance of our product. So we don't buy third-party waste, regrind it in our tile. We found that to degrade the strength and integrity of the tile, and over time, those tiles start to get brittle, crack, and craze. Okay, but what we do is 100% of our waste is recycled. So either we recycle that in-house into our own starter tile, or we sell those to other companies within our own organization, and they utilize them for non-load bearing, non-exterior type applications on the home. Okay. As far as product line goes, we manufacture multi-width slate systems, single width slate systems. Oh, sorry about that. Single width slate systems. We have a new self-aligning tile, which gives you the same aesthetic as a single width slate, but it's going to, in a lot of cases, install quicker, and in some cases, it can actually be a little bit more affordable in certain projects. And then we have our new Inspire slate, which is our multi-width or single width. Our province is going to give you a very thick Vermont slate type look, big shadow lines, whereas our Inspire slate is going to be more of a weather European type aesthetic. It's going to be a little bit thinner of a slate product. I'm going to click through these real quick. We have a variety of color options. We offer a custom color as well. Let me just click over to shake just to real quickly show you some of our shake products. We manufacture multi-width slate systems, single width slate systems, and then now our newest select shake product, which is it's going to give you a multi-width appearance, but you're not working with 4 or 5 different size tile. You're only working with 2 size tile. Makes it a little bit easier for the installer out in the field. Tends to be a little bit more cost competitive. Okay. I would say just please reach out to us if we have any questions. If you're just one person from your firm or your group that's sitting on today's call and you think it would be advantageous for us to come in and do a CEU or a follow-up or a luncheon with your firm, please let us know. We would love to get involved with anything that you're working. We will support you from the start to the finish of your project. I really appreciate everybody's time. Thank you, Kayla, for your help today as well, and Monica.
Yes, thank you so much, Jason. A few people are asking for a copy of the presentation. Jason can send you a copy, or we will also send everybody a recording of this after the webinar today.
Okay,
thank
great.
you all so much for joining us. And thank you, Jason, for the really great presentation. And we hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.